Hey, it's Aja. Today I want to talk about some realizations I came to since my breakup and how I think I'm probably never going to get married. And that's drastic, but I have had some time to think about it. I actually recorded this video about a month ago when the breakup first happened. And so some parts of this video you're going to see are from then, and some parts of those video are from now, which is May 25th. May 25th. I almost said 26th, but it's midnight. So, yeah, I've had some time to think about it. I'm not as angry, I'm not as hurt. Some of my points of views have softened, and I lost my job. So it does change the lens through which I view this whole conclusion, but the conclusion is in fact the same. I used to be very like Disney kid, and if you've grown up watching Disney, then you know the happily ever after includes a wedding. You just can't happily ever after unless you get married. And I believed that for my entire childhood and young adulthood, and now I'm however old I am, and I'm realizing that's not the case. So yeah, this video is about how I came to the conclusion that I may never get married and how I'm coming to accept that. And it's actually not as tragic and sad as it might sound initially. I know a lot of people struggle to like find someone to date. I just watched a video the other day that I thought was really impactful, really interesting about another 34-year-old woman, unmarried. And she's like, I don't know how I will ever find my partner because I don't go nowhere. I'm by myself all the time. I work from home. I'm very isolated. It's hard to meet somebody else in these circumstances. And I'm like, heard, but not my experience, because I find it really easy to meet people. I'm an extrovert. I don't work from home. I'm chatty. I travel. Meeting people is not my problem. My problem is keeping them. Right now, I seem to be stuck at this like 5-6 month barrier. Like I can't seem to maintain a relationship longer than 5 or 6 months, which that can be long enough. As a member of the queer community, okay, sometimes we move fast. That is more than enough time to experience a myriad of relationship milestones, okay? The milestones are milestoning, and I've definitely fallen in and out of love. I wouldn't even say I've done that a few times, because to be honest, not all of those relationships were love. The most recent one absolutely was, and I wanted to be with this person forever, but we had some irreconcilable differences, and ultimately it led to the demise of the relationship. So yeah, I failed again. But what did we learn? Well, you will probably be disappointed to find out that the greatest lesson that I learned from that is I may never get married. This is not a sad realization though. Honestly, the realization is a little bit more optimistic than it probably seems from the way that I phrased it, because I'm starting to realize that not getting married is not the worst thing that could happen to you in the world. I'm starting to realize that being happy with myself, being content alone, is probably the best thing for me. And being in a relationship that doesn't make me feel better than being by myself is a waste of my time and theirs. I really want to be married. Like I've wanted that ever since I was a wee little girl watching, The Little Mermaid, Mulan, Pocahontas. Pocahontas is my favorite Disney movie right now. And all of these fairy tales end with a wedding. They get married at the end. I thought that's what we're working for in life. You do well to be awesome so that you attract your happily ever after, which is of course a person, but it might not be. My happily ever after might not be a person, and I have to be okay with that, because compromising on my needs and changing myself to fit into the box of somebody else's needs, that's not sustainable. That's not going to work. It's not going to make me happy. It's not going to make them happy. It's not going to lead to happily ever after. It's going to lead to misery ever after, and I don't want that. Now, you may question, what are these standards of mine? Okay, I'm going to name some of them, not all of them. I wrote them down on a notebook that's in front of me, so if you see me looking down, I'm checking my notes, okay? I require trust. I wrote that down as number 1, and it's a little petty why I did that, because it's very high on my list of what's important, but it's high on my list of what's important right now just because I feel like in my last relationship, we didn't have that. Not that I didn't trust her, she didn't trust me. And a lot of the things that I did were not untrustworthy, but my trustability kept being questioned, and my motives kept being questioned, and everything I did was questioned, and I just started feeling like, wow, you really think I'm not a good person? And I don't like that. So right now it's sitting at number 1, but is it really the number 1 most important thing to me? Number 2, autonomy. That is probably the number 1 most important thing to me, because I realized that I don't like to feel controlled. Then at the same time, we all know that another like quirky little nickname for marriage is a ball and chain, right? Being married does kind of confine you to certain standards and certain rules and certain roles that you abide by to maintain the marriage, or to, keep your partnership strong, meaningful. I don't oppose that. I just don't want to feel like I can't do things that aren't bad things. I don't want to feel like someone is telling me what to do or how to live, and in that guidance, they're eliminating things that I do that aren't bad. You know what I mean? If you're going to change me, help me get rid of some of my flaws. Okay. But if you're going to change me just like, cause like I did something, but you don't like that thing, but that thing isn't a bad thing, you just don't like it. Like, we're getting into the territory of you just don't like me, and that's okay. We don't have to be together. Okay, I'm editing this video right now, and as I edit it, I realize that by being super vague on this part, it just kind of sounds like I want to do whatever I want to do, and I don't want my partner to say anything about it. And that's not what I meant. So let me give an example. An example would be, I'm a person who likes to travel. My literal job is travel, but also for fun and for leisure, I like to travel. If I've been a person who travels since before you met me, now that we're together, I'm not going to stop being a person who travels. Maybe you don't like being separate from me, but you also don't like to travel. That means you either got to come with me, figure out a way to get yourself on this trip, or you got to be okay with me going on my trip. I'm not willing to stop being a person who travels because you don't like that I travel. There's nothing wrong with travel. Traveling is not a sin. Traveling is not a bad thing. It is just something I like to do, and you may not like that about me, and that's a you problem. Don't make it my problem, because if you just don't like girls who travel, then you don't want to be with me. A career, ambition, those things go hand in hand, but I'm willing to compromise on you having a career as long as you are employed in some way and working on the career. That is to say that I'm not against dating someone who works at Walmart or McDonald's. That's fine, as long as while you're working at Walmart or McDonald's, you're also studying for your degree, or you are going to night school for a certificate or barber school or something else. And if you work at Walmart or McDonald's and you feel judged by me, I'm not judging you. That's your life. I just don't want to marry you. And you've got to be okay with that. Yeah, the caveat to these standards is that I don't meet them now. I don't meet my own standards. When I first started this video, I did. And one of those things was you gotta be employed. If you watched my last video, then you know I'm a firm believer in the Cardi B trope that broke don't deserve no. Which means that if you ain't got a job, take your broke home. Like, you really shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't be entering into a dating situation. Now, I understand you can be with someone and lose your job. That's different. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about getting into a situation, initiating, starting. And so, even if I wanted to date right now, which I don't, because I have a heart and I have feelings, and those feelings still belong to my ex. But even if I wanted to date right now, I couldn't because I don't live by my own standards. I don't meet them. I don't have a job. That's crazy and it feels not good, but it is what it is. So that's one. Again, not saying there's anything wrong with having those jobs because you are employed and that's great. I just don't consider those careers. I don't think that's a job that you should be like, yes, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life or the rest of my working life. More power to you if that's what you want. We just can't get married and you have to be okay with that. I want a partnership, not codependency, because I think it's really good to be good on your own. So I do want a partner that I can rely on in that sense that, like, when I'm low, you bring me back up. And then when you're low, I bring you back up. I think that's good. That's not codependency though. Codependency to me is like, ChatGPT is explaining what I'm trying to say better than me. That codependency is a relationship pattern where one sense of identity, self-worth, or emotional stability is overly tied to another person. So it leads to you not having that sense of independence, individuality. One person is always going to have to give more than the other person. Lack of internal grounding. It's saying like, if they're not okay, that means you're not okay. So now you're both not okay. Whereas the balanced, partnership that I'm thinking of, it's like, dude, you're down. I don't gotta join you down there. Okay, I'm up here and I can help bring you back up here, But this codependency thing is dragging us both down instead of us building each other up. And that's what I don't want. And worst of all, I feel like codependence is really hard, especially if you're the one being depended on. Like if the other person is relying on you, if the other person is relying on me for their happiness, for their sense of self-worth, for their sense of identity, for their even monetary financial stability, then what that means is I'm trapped too, because if I step away, you're basically making it my responsibility that your whole world is going to crumble if I step away. And that's not fair. Basically, when I enter into a relationship and I realize that those standards are not being met, I leave. And I've realized that like there have been times when I left a little too early because maybe I could have communicated with that person, hey, these are my standards, they're not being met, and give them the opportunity to do something about that. I've done that too, and that does not work because you can't change people. You can't change people. Telling people how they're letting you down and then staying with them, not healthy to me, in my opinion. Hey, so I wanted to clarify this part as well. Basically, I want to draw a line between actions and identity when I'm talking about changing people. I understand you can ask someone to change habits or like certain things that they do that, you don't like. You can ask that from a partner. But when I say that you can't change people, I'm talking about their identity. If you sometimes forget to put the cap on the toothpaste, that's a habit that can change. If you identify as a controlling person, that is your identity. That is part of who you are. You're not going to change that because I said, hey, please don't. And that's what I'm talking about. There are some things you can ask a person to change for you. And I've been guilty of leaving too soon before asking. Yes, but then there are other things that are parts of a person's identity, who they are. And you can ask them to change, but they won't, or not in a lasting, sustainable way, because it's literally part of who they are. And yeah, it's just not gonna work. So I'm not interested in doing that. I have questioned my standards too. When I asked ChatGPT if my standards were too high, that said yes. That ChatGPT said that I'm asking for too much. Not in those words, but in some words. And I was like, I really had to sit with that for a little while. I was like, am I asking for too much? And then I looked in the mirror and I remembered I offer everything that I want in a partner. I have those things. I offer all of those things. I'm not asking for something that I don't provide. So it exists because I have it. It exists because it is within me. If I walk around embodying the person I want to find, then surely someone else can too, right? But I'm starting to come to the conclusion that maybe I'm just better than everyone else. That's a joke. But maybe finding somebody with those things that I want, those abilities, those standards, those needs that I require, maybe it is hard. Especially at my age, which I'm not too old to find love. I've seen people fall in love double, triple my age. But some of the things that I want, like for example, no kids. Well, by the time somebody's my age, they've already had kids. They can't unkids, right? So now I have to wait another 15, 20 years for their kids to get grown, for them to, you know what I mean, fit my standard again. And I've been told that I have an avoidant attachment style, which isn't true. I've thought about it. I've questioned myself. I've done some research, and I really was open to the possibility that I don't really want to be happy, that I'm gonna consistently raise the bar so that no one can reach it because I have an avoidant attachment style. Is that true about me? No, it's actually not. Because actually what's true about me is that I sometimes will force a circle into a square hole, trying to make somebody else match my standards and make myself match somebody else's standards just to keep them. That's not healthy, babes. I've actually stayed way too long in circumstances that don't benefit me several times because of that strong desire to be attached. I don't have an avoidant attachment style. I want to be attached. I want to be attached. But I want to be attached to the right person. And a relationship has just got to be better than my solitude. I'm an extrovert. I don't want to be alone. But in my solitude, I have peace. I have understanding. I do not have to shrink myself. I don't have to be less than what I am and who I am for anyone else, right? So whatever person enters into my life, they have to make me feel better than being by myself. That shouldn't be hard because, like I said, I am an extrovert. I don't want to be by myself. But if being with you is not better than being by myself, why are we together? Why are we doing that? I'm too grown to be doing that. I've got to stop doing that. By the way, this video is not meant to be a shot at anyone that I've dated in the past. Every person that I've dated that I've taken seriously has been a decent person, there's been a reason that we were together, right? And if I loved someone, there was a reason that I loved them. They are all worthy and deserving of love. But being worthy and deserving does not equal to being my match, to being together. You can't just look at somebody, say, ah, yes, this is a great person, so we belong together. That's not how it works. Sometimes you encounter great, amazing, beautiful, fantastic, just giving, kind, sweet, attractive people who are not for you. Yeah, just because someone is a good person and you can see all of their positive qualities does not make them your person. I know a lot of my own merits. I know so many bad things about me, but I know even more great things about me. And yet, as much as I might walk around being like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm so wonderful, I don't expect everyone I encounter to want to be with me for life. So just because I think I'm great doesn't make me everyone's match. And just because other people are great doesn't make them my match. And that's just something to come to terms with, because ultimately I may never find that match. I may never encounter the person that meets all of my needs, for whose needs I also meet. It might not happen for me, babes. Here's the thing. My standards aren't changing. I realize that I don't meet them. They're still not gonna change. Do you know why? Because if and when I enter my next relationship, I will meet them. I will not enter into my next relationship until I do. And that's just that on that. If the person of my dreams were to appear in front of me tomorrow and say, can I go on a date? I would say no. For two reasons. One, because I don't have a job. Jobless people should not go on dates. And two, because I don't have space in my heart for any new people. Not just romantic relationships, any new people. Any new people. I literally don't have space in my heart right now for any new people. I'm cold inside. But it's okay. It's making me stronger. Stronger, better, faster, stronger. Look at these. Look, 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 look. They look skinny, but they're developing. You know, I have a great aunt. She's in her 80s, never been married. And you know what? She does not seem unhappy. She's never been married, but she's surrounded by love. My mom lives with her about the time. She loves her. I go visit. I love her. Our other cousins go visit. They love her. My sister loves her. My dad loves her. Everybody loves her. She's loved. She's taken care of. She will not die alone because she is surrounded by love. And that's a beautiful existence. You do not have to be married to be happy. Who am I trying to convince? Myself. I'm trying to convince myself. I want to be married. I want to, but I also want to be okay I want to be okay with not getting something that I may never get. I want to be okay with that. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be brokenhearted. I don't want to be constantly hoping, desiring for something that I may never get. So this is me releasing that. I'm letting it go. Not saying I won't never get married, but I'm absolutely, positively not settling. So it's okay if I never do. It's okay if I never do. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. As a reminder, if you enjoyed this video, it's not just because you want to know more about this topic. It's because I'm in the video. And let me tell you something. I'm in all of my videos. So if you like this one, go ahead and subscribe. Talk soon. Bye. Yeah, I actually have a lot of flaws and I'm aware of them. You know, part of the opposite of codependency or whatever is hyper independence. I may have a tinge of that, something to work on. I definitely, I've found that a lot of times I'm not my type's type, because for example, like I tend to be attracted to the certain type of people that are usually attracted to like hyper femininity, and I have a myriad of styles that I like to wear and express myself with, and some of them are hyper feminine, but some of them are really not. And yeah, that can be difficult. It's not that it's a problem. I don't necessarily always attract my type being this way. That's okay too. What's another flaw? It's so hard to think of them because, there are so few. That's probably a flaw. I've got a lot of merits as well, okay? I'm pretty, I think, in my opinion. Don't try to humble me because it will not work. I'm artistic. I did that. All of that. I did that. I made these. I'm athletic. Now, I know that wasn't really nothing. I'm more of a runner than a lifter. The point is that I have merits. There are good things about me. There's a lot of good things about me. I can't think of them all right now, but they exist. I'm funny. Sometimes not. Let's actually not talk about my merits. I'm not advertising myself. I'm not trying to date nobody right now. I'm going through a heartbreak. I'm sad.